I've already started picking some plants that I want to downsize. So I want to downsize about 15 more plants. Earlier this year, I think a couple months ago, I did a downsizing video where I walked you around my collection and we picked 10 plants to downsize. And for me, I've kind of gotten to a point where I really do need to consolidate, you know, with my shop and being so busy with that. I just want a collection that is easy to care for me, and you know, I enjoy actually taking care of the plants. And I had just chopped all of my moss poles a few days ago as well, so that was a lot in itself, and I already feel so much better going into my plant room not having to worry about that. I really don't know how many I have picked out yet, so I think we'll go through those first. And any that I can prop back, I'll go ahead and prop back. And then the pile that I'm going to be planting outside, I will probably do that on a different day. I'm not going to include that for this video though. I'm just going to set them aside because I don't really have time right now to go outside and plant them. But yeah, we'll run through those and then we'll kind of go around my collection and pick some more to let go. I changed locations. It was easier to work here rather than over at the doorway. So I'm going to show you the Alicacia that I will be planting outside and saying goodbye to as an indoor houseplant. First is an Alicacia Poly, and this one was actually supposed to be a mint variegated. Pink mint or just mint? I think it was just a mint, and I got this as like a tiny little plug, you guys. And I remember when I first got it, it had a little variegation and it spit out two beautifully very minty leaves, and everything since has come in completely reverted. So it's just like a regular Alicacia Poly. I have grown some corms off of her, and there's a couple of them that I'm keeping, but it's weird. The leaf comes in like all pink. It's very strange. I don't know if it'll eventually fade to like a mint over time, and I don't know how that variegation is going to continue. So I'm keeping them as like an experiment. They're in my shop room just to see what they do. But yeah, this one has not produced any more type of variegation at all. And although I like a regular poly, there's nothing wrong with an all green version. I just am a sucker for variegated plants, and yeah, this one has unfortunately just reverted on me. So yeah, this one is not going to stay as a houseplant. This is the next Alicacia I am getting rid of. I beheaded it because I got mad at it. So this is a Alicacia Aani, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So the other day when I was watering, just this Alicacia is so stubborn. I just can't give it the proper care that it wants. I don't know, I haven't figured out how to grow it properly. It does not seem to enjoy my plant room environment, and it's in pot and everything, and it was growing fine at one point, and I don't know if it just didn't like something anymore, but it's unhappy and I'm tired of looking at it. So the part that I beheaded, I stuck in some water, and it's actually growing in some water roots. This is what Aani looks like. So this Alicacia is very beautiful, and when new leaves emerge, it has this beautiful red veining. It's really hard to make out. And then the outer rim is a light green color. I love this Alicacia, I really do. It's just so stubborn to grow. So I'm going to root this corm out and pot it up and let it go to someone else who wants to give a go at this Alicacia. The variegated ones are so freaking beautiful, but I will not get that plant in my collection because the regular one is so freaking finicky. So yeah, this is getting tossed. I will look at letting this one go. I do have a lot of pups of her that are growing, so I'm gonna add this one to the slew of Alicacia that I have in there. It's just I'm no longer going to grow this as a houseplant in my collection. The next Alicacia I am going to be getting rid of as a houseplant indoors is this one here. This is a pretty big Alicacia. She's got 4 leaves right now. And I did mention that I was going to be letting this one go. This is a Yucatan Princess, and I bought it as a variegated one, but this one has unfortunately reverted. All the new leaves have not come in with any variegation. I actually have another a Yucatan Princess variegated in my collection, and it is a highly variegated specimen. And so I'm gonna keep that one and not grow this one anymore because, like I said, these alocasias get huge and I just don't have the space to keep 2 of these huge alocasias. That was my initial plan when getting the more variegated one, was to eventually let this one go, but then it got huge, so I'm just gonna plant it outside. And I have gotten corms from her that are variegated, so I'll dig in here and see if there's any more corms before I plant her outside. And that'll be it for this one. Even though her corms have produced variegated pups, I feel like I just don't want 2 mother plants of this one in my home. And the next or last alocasia that I picked that I am letting go is Alicacia Bisma or Platinum. And this alocasia I really did love at one point in my collection, and I ended up separating her because she got to be too big. I think there was 4 or 5 stems that ended up sprouting, and I was downsizing some of my alocasia. Well, I was separating them, so only keeping 1 plant for me and then getting rid of the other plants. Well, the plant that I decided to keep for me shocked and dropped all of her leaves, and there's only 2 left. And the reason that she is dumped out was because I really needed her pot. So yeah, I am going to be saying goodbye to this. I'm going to keep the stump and see what the stump does. If it will regrow into a plant, I will let her go. I have sold 1 of her babies, and I have, I think, a couple more that are growing right now. I haven't gotten a lot of corms from her. It doesn't seem to be like a heavy corm producing plant or alocasia. I think I've just finally decided to part ways. So yeah, I will save the stump and see what will grow back for the shop, but I'm not going to try and keep it. Like if it doesn't grow and I'm struggling to grow it, I don't want to put that much effort into it. I will just let it go, but I will do what I can. Next up is a Syndapsis. And although I really do love this one, I have decided that I like my Exotica more and I'd rather keep that one. This one is pretty similar, it just has more silver. This one is called Silver Lady, and I'm going to completely prop this up for the shop. I have chopped her back several times to make small plants, and I actually have, I think, 2 right now that I'm going to be listing soon, but I just feel like I'd rather keep my Exotica. This one is a bit more on the slower growing side as well. I don't know if it's because of all the silver. So we're gonna say goodbye to her today. Okay, I have 4 more that I have picked out here, and we need 10. So that means I have to go around to my collection and pick 6 more. So this one here is a Monstera, and this is what is left of my Monstera Oblica. I have probably 60 plants of this growing right now. I honestly probably have more. This plant produces a lot of runners, so what I do is I cut the runners off and propagate the wet sticks, and it grows into a small plant. But the reason why I don't want to grow Monstera Oblica in my collection anymore is because of the way it grows. It really does enjoy being on a moss pole because of the runners, and I don't really want a plant that produces long vines and then a leaf and then another long vine and a leaf. And if I miss this one in the future, I can always just keep one of my propagations. But for right now, I just feel like I want to let it go. Obviously it's been underwatered, just I'm not caring for it appropriately, and I'd rather not have this as a sad plant in my collection that needs a moss pole, so I am going to say goodbye to this one. Up next is this rotted plant. I let it go to dry. This is a Peperomia prostrata, or string of turtles. This one is a little bit more sentimental because it used to be really huge in my collection, and then it got infested with ants in my window when I had an issue with them when I had Hoya in there. And ever since then, like I feel like it's just gone downhill since. I had grown a lot of it back and, you know, grew a second plant out of it, and then it came down with mealies when I had more of a mealy issue in my plant room, and I'm like, you know what, I am just over this plant. I think honestly I have a little bit left that I could, you know, grow out if I really wanted to, but I just don't know if I want to keep it as a plant in my collection anymore. I do have, you know, string of hearts and stuff still, but I think I'm going to say goodbye to this one. I would have to reprop it and everything. I actually think there's just one vine hanging on. And the reason why it dried out is because I have it in a little thing of stratum. And I probably forgot to water it a couple of times. I think what I'm gonna do is just maybe stick these in a prop bin and grow a plant for somebody and then just list it in my shop. But for right now, I'm considering it a plant that I'm going to downsize and get rid of. Another plant that I was going to hang on to, so this is the bottom cut of my Monstera Flame. I'm not getting rid of my Monstera Flame, like the top section. I love it so much. But this bottom part, you know, when I was propagating it, I should have just went ahead and propagated the entire thing because I knew that I wouldn't want this bottom cut to grow back. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I think there might be a growth point here at the very bottom of the plant starting. So I'm just going to prop this up as like a wet stick and grow a small plant out of it and list it in some time. But I'm going to get rid of this bottom section. I just don't want to keep this at all. Another one that I'm getting rid of is this Monstera Mint. Now this is the top section of my mint tissue culture that I got, I think in 2023. I have the mid cut that is growing and I also have the bottom section that is growing, and I am keeping both of those. But for some reason this top section, I don't know what's going on with it. The leaves are curling. It's obviously not happy about something. The root system is totally fine and everything. So I don't know what it doesn't like. So what I think I'm gonna do with this is dump it out and see if there's like a node that I can somehow propagate. But I'm gonna cut these leaves off and get rid of this top section. Because like I said, I have the two other sections of this plant that is growing some minty leaves and I like those obviously better. And this is just sad looking. I'm tired of looking at it and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna dump this out here in a bit and take a look and see if there's anything I can save. Yeah, so that was 9. So we need 6 more plants. So let's go around to my collection and pick 6 more plants to downsize. This is a Hoya Carey Splash, and I've had this Hoya for a really long time. This was a cutting that I got, I think back in 2020. It was one of the first Hoyas in my collection actually. And it hasn't grown very much. I actually propped it, I think, in 2023. Yes, you can see I propped it here initially. And so I think that set the growth back a little bit. And then was it last year or earlier this year, I had snapped it right here and broke the vine that had the peduncle. It had bloomed once. I feel like all winter this Hoya has not grown, and then all of a sudden within like the past 2 months it grew this really long tendril. It's so long. Ooh. But I don't like the way that this Hoya is growing. I don't like this huge trellis. I feel like it does grow a bit slow, and I don't really like this bigger leaved Hoya. I like the more smaller leaved Hoyas. So I do think I'm gonna say goodbye to this one. I think what I'll do is prop it all the way up and make some baby plants with it and let it go completely. So yeah, that's what the leaves look like. There's several different varieties of the Carey, but this one is the splash version. It is a beautiful Hoya, don't get me wrong. I think it's really cute, like the heart leafed and everything. I just feel like it's not for me anymore. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the list. Okay, next up, I'm here in the dining area. I have this big shelf in front of me, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and let go of this Pilea. This is one that I got last year because my original one I don't have anymore. And this one has the white splotches. It's like white spot or white splash. But Pilea doesn't really seem to do well in my care. I could give it more light and see what it does, but I just don't think it's a happy plant. I could stick it outside and see how it does out there. Maybe it'll like being outside, which I might do, because I feel like I wouldn't want to sell this one with the way that it's looking and everything. So maybe I'll stick this outside and just see how it grows out there. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. Pilea is really cute, and I did really like mine at one point, but this one just doesn't seem happy. I don't know, I can't stop the leaves from cupping. They just like get all weird looking. You know what? I'm gonna challenge myself to do 20. I am changing it to 20. I really am. Okay, so let me show you some more that I've picked out. So this is Monstera Dubia. This is the only piece that I have left. And again, this was one that I was really looking forward to getting and growing. I had it on a moss pole at one point, and then I had like let it overextend so many times that I restarted it, I think 3 times. And the cuttings that I took from the pole, this is what happened. Like the new growth that came in would come in really small, and then it'd do like a long runner. And then I would try and prop the runner, and I couldn't get anything to really grow from it, not like a decent size. I feel like Monstera Dubia, when it gets huge on a moss pole and it has all those fenestrations, like it is a really beautiful plant, but I can't really seem to extend it and stuff in time. And then the growth that I get, it kind of, once it goes off the pole, it reverts back to more juvenile size leaves, and I just felt like it grew too fast for me to keep up with it because I was just so over moss poles. And then I'm also saying goodbye to this one. This is my Monstera Sulta Piccana. I kept a few cuttings that were on my moss pole, and I was going to keep these. And I could keep this as a trailing basket, but I think I'm just going to make some baby plants with what's here. I was actually really wanting to get the Monstera Sulta Piccana. It's the El Salvador, because I really like the leaves on that one much better. So I may eventually get that one because I really do like Monstera Sulta Piccana. I love all the fenestrations and everything. I feel like it does grow pretty fast for a moss pole, and it does look pretty trailing. Like I've seen these at the big box store and like huge pots, and they're trailing and they're very beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna say goodbye to this one, and I'll think about the El Salvador possibly for my future. So that is 2 more plants. Okay, I lost count for a minute. This is number 14. This Hoya here I mentioned in my last video that I was thinking about getting rid of because I didn't love it anymore. This is also one of my older Hoyas. This is the Hoya Curtisi. It has the little, not really round, they're kind of like an oval, round oval shape, and they have little splashes on the leaves. I just have fallen out of love with this Hoya. It doesn't bring me joy anymore. And it's time to say goodbye to this one because I have so many other Hoya that I really do love. So I'll probably prop this up and make some plants out of here. I'm going to count this as number 15. This is a different Scindapsus I had in my collection. It was just in water. This is arreus, I think. That's what the variegation looks like. I had a larger plant of this at one point, but I saved some cuttings, and I think I sold maybe a plant or 2 of this before. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to these propagations. I'm trying to clear out the shelf because I want to use this for all my anthuriums. So I'm trying to look to see if there's any plants that I can let go of for sure that I just don't want to keep anymore. And I don't want to hang on to this one. I had mentioned this one too, this Epipinatum albo. No, Epipinatum marble variegation. This one I got as a node in 2023, and this is all that this plant has done. I tried sticking it in pond to see if it would help grow better, but it's just, this particular specimen just doesn't seem happy in my care. I think I'm gonna let it go, you guys. It just doesn't bring me any joy at all. So number 16. Okay, I picked one more from this shelf. This is Sangonium albo. So this one has reverted, it's all green. I kept it because of that half moon leaf here, and then all the new growth is literally all green. I'm probably gonna let this one go in my shop. So I had this Sangonium albo really huge in my collection. It was climbing up a moss pole, it was beautiful. And then I decided to propagate all of that up, and I had a ton of nodes. I threw them all in a prop bin. I neglected the prop bin, and I was able to save probably like 10 or so nodes out of there, and they're currently really tiny, but I am growing them out, and a lot of the specimens do look highly variegated. So I'm going to keep this plant in my collection because I do love Sangonium albo. It's my first Sangonium. I actually got Sangonium albo because I couldn't wait to get a Monstera albo. This was back in 2020, and those were so expensive. So this was like my really first kind of variegated plant in a way, so it is very sentimental. So because this one has reverted, I'm gonna let this one go, and once my baby ones grow out, I'll start like a second Sangonium albo, or I'll start a new Sangonium albo plant. But yeah, this one here is taking up shelf space and I'm just gonna get rid of this. All right, 3 more, you guys. This is a bit challenging. I think I'm gonna let go of this Hoya. This was one that was a recent one in my collection. It was a free plant. I don't really love the leaves. I usually buy Hoya for the leaves. I don't know, for some reason this one I'm just not really drawn to, so I'll probably just list this one in my shop. I had already potted it up and everything not too long ago, and I feel like it's just now pushing some growth, so I'll probably let it grow a little bit more and then I'll list it. I don't even know what this one is. This is a Parviflora Splash. I have no idea what the blooms look like either. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of the leaves, so I think I'm gonna let this one go. So that is 18. We need 2 more plants. Okay, I found the last 2. I quickly looked in my plant room and I was gonna pick a couple more out of there, but I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually have 3 of these Hoyas. I'm gonna let one of these go. This is the Lacinosa Tricolor Bruno. This one's growing a lot, so I feel like I will list this one in my shop. I have one in my plant room and then I have a cutting that's growing too, but I don't need 3 of these plants, these Hoyas. It's a very beautiful Hoya. So yeah, I'm gonna let this one go. And this last one was an easy one because this Alocasia, the stump, mushed. This is a Rehab Watsoniana. I think it was supposed to be the lightning version, and then when I got it, it was like a regular version or something, and it wasn't the lightning. And so I was saving the one little corm, but it's clearly like, it's a goner. So that was easy. I can't believe I have 20 plants here that I'm getting rid of. Those on the table and then those on the table there. Hello, I'm back. So I have finished propagating and I have a huge pile of props. I pretty much propped everything minus the alocasia here and the Hoya I have in those containers that, you know, they were in. I propped the Pilea, the string of turtles, the Hoya Curtisi, the Hoya Carey Splash, the Sandapsis, the Monstera Sulta Piccana, the Epi Marble. What else is in here? The Monstera Oblica, the Aslanii, the Alicacia Platinum. They're all in here. So what I'm going to do is clean leaves really good, and then any of the props I'm just going to set up in perlite. I've been using perlite a lot more for propagations, and I'm going to quarantine these in a separate bin. That way they're all together, and whatever grows and is healthy, then I will list. If something decides to rot away, isn't growing, isn't coming in healthy, then I'm just going to get rid of. Yeah, Luna? She was talking to me. I have 2 more plants. So I'm gonna end this with 22 plants that I'm downsizing. Shall I walk you over to the 2 plants that I'm gonna downsize? I actually forgot that I wanted to downsize them, but I'm proud of myself for doing 22 plants. What the heck? I was not expecting that. I already feel so much better, you guys. The other 2 plants, the last plant I have technically on a moss pole is this Ring of Fire philodendron. It's huge. And the only reason I am going to be downsizing this is I have a caramel marble and I like it a lot more. I just don't care for the muted variegation on this one anymore. I just don't love it as much, and I think this would look really pretty outside planted in the ground. So that's my plan with this guy. I'm just going to take it out of here and plant it right in the ground. None of these roots are healthy in this moss because obviously it's been drying out. Like, I haven't watered this thing. I've just been dumping water in here when I go to water it. So yeah, I'll get this planted outside when I do the alocasias. And then the other one that I'm going to downsize right here, you can barely see. I've neglected this Alicacia. It's the Tangerusa. And there might be a new leaf getting ready to emerge out of here. Yeah, it might be a bloom coming in down here. She hasn't spit a new leaf out in a while, so that's probably why. Yeah, it's a bloom down here. So what I'm going to do with her is plant her out in the yard too. And I think the plant that I want to put in this spot, because this is by the front door, I want like a beautiful plant here. And you know what I'm thinking to put here is the bottom part of my Monstera elbow plant in that corner. I think having that on a little plant stand and having it climb up here would be beautiful. And then I will eventually, you know, keep propping that one back. But I think that's a good plant for out here. And I'll just put one grow light here because I have 2 here for now. I'll get this setup kind of done a little bit differently. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I do feel so much better like cleaning out my collection. I just feel like it's long overdue, and I'm someone who tends to hold on to plants for a really long time. Even if I don't really enjoy them anymore, I sometimes feel like just because I bought it, I have to hang on to it, and that's not true at all. If you're not really feeling some of your plants anymore, it's okay to get rid of them because it just makes you feel so much better, and then you can go into caring for the plants that you really do love and enjoy. And I just feel like putting so much care, better care into that, you're just going to feel better overall about your collection. So I'm happy I'm downsizing. I probably will downsize some more, maybe even later this year. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.